Okay.
Okay, this is the back garden. It started off as a sod grass to a ugly fence with no screening from your neighbors. You could wave to them at night. So it started that just a few shrubs or trees were put in mainly to act as a privacy issue. And then over the years, it's developed into something else. Now, I didn't have a lot of people back here. A lot of people never knew what was going on back here, so that's one of the reasons I started doing more gardening in the front, so you can kind of share your garden with other people. So each of these beds at one time were color-coded by flowers and things. At one point, these were white flowers in this bed. This whole shady nook just kind of happened. Like friendly orbs that were purchased end of season, marked down, which I tend to do a lot of, unfortunately. But I always felt there's always room outdoors for one more thing, but I think you can overdo even in the garden. So I have to keep curbing myself. And as I said, I might have said before that I tend to be a plant collector as well as a gardener, so I tend to put 3 plants in the space where 1 plant would probably do better. But it kind of weans itself because the other 2 plants die back and the 1 plant takes over often. So we've got, like, we're done blooming, but geraniums, the perennial geraniums, not pelargoniums. This is a nice variegated plant whose name is escaping me, with yellow flowers. Back there.
Are these the tree lilies right here?
No, these aren't. These are just normal kinds, but they had deep purple flowers. I think it was Landini. Spirea. Why can't I think the name of that one? This is a nice little wind sculpture where the wind gets it going in both directions at times.
Beautiful.
So I'm not sure it's sited where it needs to be. So anyway, over the years, my plantings took over the lawn, and we now have no lawn, basically a grassy path which is suffering because of our drought and heat conditions. But when I'm mowing, I come through with the mower, and it's always at least a mower wide, and I use a nice battery operated mower, which I enjoy. And so things developed. This was a blue and purple bed at one point. We still have blue altheas and purple phlox is still blooming right there. Hostas are everywhere. You can grow them. The artwork, like the plants, I just find things in my travels, and I say, oh, I need to have that in my garden. And I'm lax on on remembering people's names of who did this and who did that. But so he's kind of like the Victorian gazing globe, where you get a view of the garden by looking in there, and the stone pylons are local artists.
And you said that's from coring samples.
Well, the tubular things, that's what I'm assuming they are. But there's actually a metal or a post in the ground, and everything is threaded on that, so that we have it's cored out, and these are all stone. And I have another one where I'm considering maybe making this one taller, but I haven't done that either. It's a project that I'm thinking about. A little cement kind of goes with my cement sculpture over there. A little grasshopper.
Oh, look at this hummingbird.
Yeah, they're just kind of pop out at you. This is a country French fern.
It's amazing how much larger it feels than it actually is.
It's actually quite a narrow garden, and initially I divided it into 3 sections and just dealt with it in those sections. And so now we have, it is what it is. Well, I don't know which way we want to go. But, so one year I decided to put in the bricks over the cement patio, which made it a lot warmer, but now you can't see it anyway, so maybe I didn't need to do that. Madagascar palms. I have a nice collection. I'm in a couple plant societies. So one is the Michigan Cactus and Succulent Society, where it's as much a social thing as a plant knowledge kind of thing. But I somehow turned into one of the older members there. I'm not sure how that happened, but it happened. And it's interesting now having plants that I can keep track of that I brought in and out of the house for 20, 30 years.
So many of these plants every year, because you're in Detroit and it gets so cold and freezes that you have to bring them and put them in your basement.
Correct.
And then in the springtime you have to come and bring them out of your basement.
Right. And I'm getting older, so...
You need an intern. You need a couple interns.
So, I mean, we have plant sales, but it turns out, I mean, they're a lot of work, and you certainly don't do it for the money. I don't do it for the money. So I have to decide whether it's worth doing. My neighbors just had a three-family garage sale for a couple of days, and they were doing landmark business. I was impressed, but when my family has tried it, and the last day somebody stole the money and worked so hard, and it wasn't, you know, then you have $150 for working very hard for a couple of days. It just isn't quite worth it. So better to just donate the things, I guess.
Oh, I love that fish.
Yeah, you were going to do the fish.
Yeah, I wish I could remember the artist who did that.
Beautiful.
He does show at the Ann Arbor Art Fair.
Okay. Should we go back around? Or go? We will follow you.
Follow me. Well, I mean, every bed has something of a story. My little boxwood shrubs, which are now, again, they started in 1-gallon containers, and now they're 9 foot tall, or whatever that is, 8 foot tall. So one time this was an herb garden. We still have bronze fennel left over from the herb garden, and I could grow roses in there, but it now became too shady for that. So, like I said, there's still remembrances of the herb garden. So we have scented things like Houtonia. It smells a little bit like bitter oranges. You don't eat it, of course, and fennel tastes like dill.
Yeah,
people like dill. So we have a few hostas that are still in there, and I go in there. This arborvitae was a little shrub, and now it's got a trunk. So we have just passageways that take you around whatever. But I have to, when I came back from being away for 2 weeks, my paths had closed in. So I think, gee, gardens don't survive their makers very often.
No,
because
nature takes over. What about this big one here? Is that from you or is that from their neighbor?
That's my neighbor's. I'm not sure why they put that there, but that's fine. So that's just a yellow flowering spring. What is that?
Oh, you have a
Where's that? Yeah.
hyacinth.
Yeah.
What's it called? It's purple, and I have it all over my house.
Yeah, it's taking over.
Wisteria vine.
Yeah,
Wisteria. And that's
Does
supposed
it
to have
flower?
Oh,
yes,
yeah, it does.
purple.
I have one that won't flower.
Yeah,
Give it the right kind of fertilizer.
And it takes a few years sometimes, and then they'll be okay. Shouldn't take 20 if it's going to flower, but it just keeps escaping.
Yeah.
So I keep cutting it back. Let's see if let's see if we can get through it this way.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So it's looking a little cluttered at the moment. A lot of these are my plants from the Cactus and Succulent Society. I'm also in the Hardy Plant Society. Those are the two main things I still keep going to. But we have a Haworthia collection largely, although there are aloes and things in there as well. Jatropha. A lot of these plants you can do indoor bonsai out of them. They're tropical bonsai. They're tree-like. Portulaca, elephant's bush. It's a natural little tree. Should, you know, I could, if I do a little bit more cropping on it, put it into a bonsai dish, it can be a successful thing to try. Although things tend to do better in larger pots, and then you can do some root pruning and then keep it going. But over the winter, some of these plants lose all of their leaves and they look like dead sticks. And then as soon as I start watering them, leaves pop out. Ocotillo. I think that one might be. Actually, let's see what it says. If it says anything. Fucaria deguetii. I bought it in '02. I repotted it in '09. So hopefully things are labeled, although the squirrels or whatever dig up labels and that in my own memory isn't what it should be, so I forget what things are. And at one time I was really good about knowing all of that stuff. And we got clover here. Bohea.
What an interesting bulb with this little tiny shoot coming out.
Well, this is a larger one, although again, let's see. Yeah, this one's Kilimanjarica, which is a little bit rarer form. It's so close, but it has a little bit different form than the common one, which is Bohea, that one. There we go. But the bulb can get larger every year. Another thing. I tend to try and make things into standards. This one needs a little working on. Scented geraniums. I can winter them over pretty much. This one, cutest, beautiful, bloomed again. This one waiting to be something.
I know they only bloom for 2 or 3 days, but you have so many, you must always have something blooming.
I do, I think. And night blooming, whatever those are. Onithera. Sundrops or something, and they're lemon scented, and sometimes you have fireflies, and they're at dusk, and they can be very beautiful. And they just kind of reseed themselves from year to year. It's like this guy reseeded itself.
Yeah, that lemon fragrance is incredible.
So, here's another potential bonsai, because it
already looks like one.
has a lovely small leaf. It's a slow grower. I do have one that's 5 foot tall up in front, but it's Operculicaria decarii. I'm glad it was written down. And I actually had some little moss in here, but there's some miniature sempervivums in the crannies, hens and chicks. So some of these did have things coming up in there, and we've got some winter hardy cactus and lots of sempervivum, which are a lot of those are growing in the troughs up front. Here's what not to do. Got sunburnt, even though I had it in the shade, and it actually has a really nice flower, tacitus, and it was looking so nice, but then it burnt. So, but I think it will make it anyway, because it'll just, you'll lose all of that, and this part will become bigger again. So that's what we're hoping for. And this is kind of like a station that as I take things out, I'm trying to find half days of sun or full shade so I can get the plants accustomed to being outside. So they don't belong here, but then I have to figure out where they do belong. But, this is like your jade tree, but it's a monstrose version that has these strange shaped leaves. And again, you can train it as a small tree. It needs some pruning. Bromeliads are nice. I like plants that can take care of themselves a lot. And bromeliads are one of those as it comes through. Oh, another dead leaf. There's another bohea looking, so that's nice green spaghetti.
Pineapples are bromeliads.
Yes, they are. That's probably the most used bromelia, the one you see most often. And I grow a ton of euphorbias. I love euphorbias, besides the haworthias and the aloes. I think those 3 families are, I grow, half of my collection might be those.
Now we're coming back to the front on what was a very mini tour that could have been 10 times longer if we had had the time.
And this plumeria took me 10 years to get it this size, and this is the first season it actually made flowers. Which
Happy anniversary.
Very nice of it.
I wish you could smell it. That's what they use for leis in Hawaii.
So, and why isn't it blooming from each? But we shouldn't be greedy about that.
Every 10 years you get a new stem blade. Well, thank you very much for this wonderful tour.
You're more than welcome.
Would you like people to be able to know about your website? Could you tell us what your website is?
Okay, what is it? It's jefferyweinstein.net. And I do a lot of environmental art. I do a lot of art and science issues where I try and find something that brings order out of chaos. So I use that as a starting point. Or sometimes I make chaos out of order, which that happens a lot too. And so the garden represents some of all of that.
Now, your contact information is on that website.
Yes, it is. And there's a direct link that people can leave notes, and I can answer them. Or I always appreciate ideas or feedback. You pointed out my Japanese pagoda made out of electrical resistors. So those are the kind of things that happen. Often by chance I'll see something and say, oh, that could possibly work. We've got tree peonies. This season the tree peonies just quadrupled in size. They really like the little bit more mild winter we had here.
These are just so, you don't know what to look at first, the art or the nature art. They're also intertwined so beautifully.
Okay. Well, welcome to my garden. Thank you.
Thank you.